This is a strange village. Red things are not allowed to appear in the village, even if it's just a small flower. Also, immediately remove it. Buried in the soil, hide a trace, otherwise something terrifying will happen, because this village has been cursed. Legend has it that there is a group of cannibal monsters living in the forest around the village. Red is a taboo color for monsters. Yellow is the safe color for monsters. Monsters agree with the village. As long as the villagers are not close to the forest, no red color appears in the village, will not harm them. The village also follows the agreement. For many years, I have been at peace with monsters, but this calm was shattered by this fool's curly hair, because that day he was holding the legendary taboo in his hand. The red fruit blind girl was scared, asked where curly hair comes from, and curly hair pulls them down a small path, and this path leads straight into the depths of the forest. Jack realized that Curly must have entered the forest more than once. He speculated that perhaps the monster could detect which people were not threatened, so we won't attack these people. So in the morning, Jack sneaked into the forest. I also saw a cluster of red fruits. He heard a strange sound. When looking up, nothing. But that night, the village guard discovered the red monster. He was so scared that he knocked loudly. The villagers heard the alarm, hurried to hide in the cellar. When Jack was about to enter the house, the monster appeared right behind him. He's hiding in the corner of the wall. Fortunately, the monster didn't find him. At this moment, the blind girl is still waiting for Jack at the door. The monster is getting closer and closer. I'm about to be taken. Jack appeared in time. Pull him into the house and hide underground immediately. The monster is becoming increasingly irritable, knocking door to door. The next day, each door is marked in red. The villagers sat together in a meeting. Everyone thinks this is a warning from the monster. Someone may have violated their territory, so he sent sacrifices to the monster. Pray for reconciliation with the monster. However, can monsters give up on this? A wedding was held in the village, strangely enough, before the wedding banquet. But the villagers carried offerings deep into the forest. They threw a whole pig's foot onto the documentary in the forest and hurriedly left. And the purpose of doing this is to prevent the monsters in the forest from coming out and causing trouble. But just as the villagers were singing and dancing happily, a hurried whistle sounded. 2 children ran in and said, "The monster has entered the village." Although the villagers are mentally prepared, but I was still scared by the scene in front of me, because all the livestock in the village have been killed. The high-speed train also hung the body on your door. They know it's a monster's warning. At night, the blind girl couldn't sleep, and came out of the house. Jack is worried that he has been guarding outside. The more they talk, the more emotional they become. Emotions are gradually warming up. Soon, everyone in the village knows about this matter. Send blessings to this couple. Curly hair, but very heartbroken, because he also likes blind girls. At this moment, something extraordinary happened. He came to Jack's house, pierced Jack's stomach with a knife. Jack fell to the ground and couldn't stand up. He hasn't cleared his grudges yet. After discovering that no one had seen it, crouching down and repairing several wounds, Curly's parents found his hands covered in blood. But he doesn't understand anything, just kept muttering, "This is a taboo color." The villagers were frightened. Search everywhere. Finally discovered Jack, who was seriously injured and dying. The villagers stitched up his wound. But the medical conditions in this small town are limited. There's no medicine that can revive Jack at all. Blind girl loves lover, so he begged the village head's father to allow him to go out of the village to buy medicine in the town. Father loves daughter. I have to agree. But before that, father took the blind girl to a small house, prepared to tell him the secrets about this village. This father took the blind daughter to an abandoned wooden house. Taking my daughter's hand, I slowly walked into the wooden house. Father asked him to touch the things in front of him. The blind woman slowly extended her hand. "Hey! This is the monster that the villagers are talking about turning pale." But my father told him, "Monsters don't exist at all, everything is fake." My father's generation also lived in towns when I was young, but they have suffered too much damage from the outside world. Many people's families have been brutally killed due to financial disputes, so they hid together in the depths of the primitive forest, hoped to create a paradise in the world. So the elders fabricated the legend of the monster, and occasionally create some strange things, to prevent some people who are unwilling to be lonely from fleeing the village through the forest. This seems like a closed loop. Actually, I want to protect the villager's father, support my daughter in finding medicine, but be sure to save your life, and tell him, there are no monsters in the forest, just follow the road, soon it will come to the outside world. But due to the blind girl's blindness, father arranged for 2 young men to accompany him away, and lied to 2 boys, saying that the blind girl has a magician in her hand. Monster will not harm them. But even so, the 2 boys are still very scared. It wasn't long before I left the blind girl behind. The blind girl had to walk alone. He struggled through the chaotic forest, accidentally falling into a deep forest. Fortunately, he has eye problems, and is quick to handle. Grabbed the edge, slowly climbed up. He searched the way recklessly, touching a broken branch, so the blind girl heard a strange sound. He was scared. No head, no brain. Start running wildly, just ran to a red fruit field. The red blind girl, who was everywhere taboo, noticed something was wrong, because of the red figure in front of her. It's the legendary monster. Monsters are getting closer and closer. Finally, he rushed towards him like crazy. The blind girl ran in the direction of the village. At this moment, I felt a broken branch. So he had a plan in his mind, standing there motionless. When the monster comes out, he quickly dodged away. Monster pierced through its body, but actually, this is not a monster. It's a curly fur disguise. She stole the monster's clothes, and the result was that he suffered such consequences from himself. After, the blind girl continues on her way. She climbed over the fence, encountered a patrolling police officer, seek help from the police, and got the medicine she wanted. The police also helped him build a ladder, escort him over the fence and return to the forest. The blind girl finally brought her back to the village and healed Jack's injury, but the village chief decided to conceal the truth about Curly's death, but disguised as a monster, killed Curly Hair. This will make the legend of the monster more authentic. It can also protect villagers from entering the forest, continuing this fairy tale about a paradise.